If Rambam's correct, and we have no way of figuring out if he's correct, but if he's correct, that's God's way of saying, yeah, I kind of got in your way. And by the way, on behalf of you, had you done it, you'd be a dead man. Again, another instance of mercy and compassion there. And Abimelech called to Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? And how have I offended you, that you should bring upon me and my kingdom so great an offense? Things that should not be done you have done to me. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what did you imagine when you did this thing? And Abraham said, for I thought, there is surely no fear of God in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. And in point of fact, she is my sister, my father's daughter, though not my mother's daughter, and she became my wife. Just stop. So two things are going to happen. I came in here, and I thought, you have no fear of my God, and I'm a dead man. Because if you feared my God, you would not be a dead man. And it turns out, what do we know about Abimelech? He fears Abraham's God. God allows it to go right with him. That's step one. I figured you'd just kill me. If you know my God, you won't kill me. Turns out he knew his God doesn't kill him. Although it's interesting, it's not he knows his God from any sort of strength or punishment. He knows that God because he says, will you really slay an innocent nation? And God's like, no, I kind of protected you. Okay, you're there, and yes, Abraham did this. Don't worry, I've got your back. Nothing would happen. So your question was great. Would you slay even an innocent nation? It turns out, no, he wouldn't. But Abraham doesn't know this. In other words, there's a sort of, obviously, omniscience that God has that Abraham does not have. Now, the second one is, and technically speaking, she is kind of my sister, which is this other way I have to go, I didn't really lie to you. Yeah, I kind of held some of the stuff back, but I didn't lie to you on all of this. Here's a fun little translation note, and it can go either way. That same thing comes up whenever we get into Exodus as well. And it happened when and this is still Abraham talking, verse 13. And it happened when the gods made me a wanderer from my father's house that I told her, this is the kindness you can do for me. In every place to which we come, say of me, he is my brother. I want to do two things here. It's just small things to unpack. The first thing, notice the translation, and it happened when the gods made me a wanderer. In most of your translation, it's going to say God. When God made me a wanderer, because we know that's in fact what happened. That's Abraham's first temptation. But the Hebrew word there is Elohim, and Elohim is a plural form of gods, which we usually just take in the singular in the Hebrew Bible. I think what Alter's trying to do here with this translation is he's trying to highlight Abraham's trying to speak a polytheistic language to the polytheist. In other words, I know where you're coming from, you're fine, and my God is one of those many gods, just happens to be more powerful than that God. So that's the first thing about Alter's translation here. But by the way, I don't think it's a huge issue whether he says my God or the gods made me a wanderer, but that's why Alter does that. Then the second thing is, I told her, this is the kindness you can do for me in every place to which we come. Remember my objection earlier whenever I said he doesn't ask permission this time? The text actually fills in the gaps for us. What the text tells us is, he didn't ask permission, you're right, but that's because they had already spoken about kind of this strategy with regards to their travels. When we come, there's just an understanding that's there between the two of them. And in fact, if we go back, that's why there's no permission there. The text is kind of answering its own kind of inquiry. Why not ask permission this time?